Hi, my name is Jamie Lee, and we are doing our fortnightly live stream of Did You See That? See you in the front row. I'm joined by my friend Mike from Did You See That? How you going, Mike?
Hey, Jamie. Yeah, I'm doing good. How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks. Really good. Today is Halloween here, so we're doing trick or treat. I've already got my Christmas tree up. Some people say that might be bad luck, but I
Okay.
don't give a fuck. But yeah, Halloween, good day, good stream planned for us. We're going to be chatting about Black Adam.
Right.
James Gunn and Peter Safran, the news over at DC.
Mm.
Terrifier 2. And then the recent rumors about Vision Quest, so the new Disney Plus series that will be starring Vision. So we'll jump into Black Adam first, yeah? You saw it in the cinemas?
No, I saw it on my phone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I didn't have time to catch it in the cinema, unfortunately.
Wasn't good enough for the cinemas, huh?
I just didn't have time.
Yeah, fair enough.
But no, it was sound. It was sound.
Yeah. I really liked it. I went into this blind. I didn't know anything. Like, obviously I watched the trailer, but didn't know anything about the character. All I knew was that The Rock was going to be playing, like an anti-hero or superhero in DC. Right. And that news was floating around for God, how many years? Like 6 years. You know what I mean? Like ages. So I just didn't ever think, anything would come from it. But oh my gosh, I loved it. We've got the viewer Drew in the comments saying that he saw it yesterday. Hey, Drew, what did you think of it? I loved it. I'm going to just mute this before I add it to our stream.
Sure.
Yeah, I thought it was really great. I thought it just went back to basics with like the fighting and just everything. It was dark, but it was also like fun. Like, you know how they take things too far sometimes with the comedy and stuff like that. I don't think they overdid it. I think The Rock was like perfectly cast for it. He wasn't too silly, but he was silly enough. I thought it was really good. Do you have any thoughts on it? You just didn't like it at the end?
Nah, so I think this is where we kind of differentiate a little bit. So it's cool to hear that you love the movie, and I know there's other people that also love it as well. So that's awesome. Yeah. By the way, hi to MLM Warrior. Hi. Yeah. So for me, I thought it was kind of just a meh movie overall. Okay. So the reasons why is because I feel like the movie was a little bit too long. I also didn't care for any of the human characters like at all. That main little boy got on my last nerves.
These ones.
Yeah, him and that cheesy speech he does. I was like, oh nah, get out of here. And I feel like that superhero in the Justice Society, the one who's like the dollar version of Ant-Man, basically.
Yeah, Adam Smasher, yeah.
Yeah, he was like the worst superhero I've ever seen in any movie.
Yeah, he was very goofy and very silly, wasn't he?
He did nothing to help in the battle, so I was like, what's he even here for?
I mean, he did do that one punch where he held him down. I think I've got it on our little video here. Okay. But yeah, I think it was just a, like an introduction to these characters because I went into this blind. I knew nothing about him. I knew nothing about this girl Cyclone here. And I thought that was really cool. Everyone's like, oh, slow-mo, it sucks. I liked the slow-mo. I thought it was cool. But I didn't like the color tone, I must say, with that. Like, it was all like dark and yellow and like sort of orange tones. And then you've got like this like really bright green. It was like, whoa, this doesn't fit. Like maybe it fit in, Thor Love and Thunder where everything's, Taika Waititi and bright and colorful. But I was like, oh, this is different. Right. So that was a little bit off. But what was I talking about before that? Oh yeah, this guy.
Yeah, he was just hopeless.
He's like, the one part.
Like he did that one punch, but it couldn't even hold him down. So I was just like, yeah, the diamond cutter, that reminds me exactly of that. Like that's what the symbol of wrestling would do.
It was very cringy, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was, but yeah.
Yeah, I say, being honest with you, I thought, it could have been a lot better. I think like the Justice Society, I liked Hawkman and I liked Dr. Fate. I thought they were the best, which I think everyone kind of thinks that.
Yeah, for sure.
To be honest with you, I agree with you. I quite like the slow-mo on the girl character. I forgot her name.
Yeah.
But I quite like that slow-mo because I think it was effective in how they used that slow-mo for that particular scene, trying to like trap him in.
Yeah.
It wasn't like everything she did was slow-mo. It was just like that kind of main thing she did, really.
I liked it. I thought it was good. And even the action sequences, I thought that they were just so good. Like I just really enjoyed all of it, really. I mean, I guess if I could like critique some stuff is that we didn't really get a build. I was happy that we got a villain, because after coming from She-Hulk where I was like, what the hell's going on? At least we had like a point, somebody that was trying to take over the world or, people and things like that. So, but there wasn't really too much of a build up to that, like we were sort of focusing so much on this battle between Black Adam and the making sure I got that right, not Justice League. The battle between them and, don't kill and we do. I kill, but we don't kill, killing's bad. So that really sort of moral battle between them that we didn't really build up towards, I don't even know what that bad guy's name was, but like the devil looking dude that was going to, take over everything. So that was a little bit, it left that third act sort of a little bit flat, didn't it? Well, I think it did.
Yeah, I feel like, so I'm going to go into some spoilers here, by the way. So if you haven't seen Black Adam, like come back in a few minutes.
I should probably put that on there. I did a little thing that does say that we've got spoilers. There we go.
Yeah. No, it's cool. Yeah. I just obviously don't want to spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen it. That's all.
No, go for your life.
So I think like a couple of big issues I had with the movie, just for myself personally, was there was a point where obviously he was fighting the Justice Society so much, and obviously the battle of like kind of good and evil, and I thought, okay, that was cool. He faced Hawkman like 4 separate times. I was like, why are we doing this? Like rehashing it all the time?
Yeah, the battle's getting overdone, that one.
But I think one scene in particular for me, I just felt was just so stupid, is The Rock, Black Adam, has a realization. And he's like, maybe I shouldn't do this, and he's like, and then he says Shazam, right? So then he goes underwater, or they put him underwater, and I was like, all right, okay, fair enough. Obviously, he kind of just doesn't want to be a problem to the world as such. Literally, the next scene, Dr. Fate calls him back from out under the water. I was like, what's the point of sending them there then?
Yeah.
And like if they didn't have to send him underwater, Dr. Fate wouldn't have died, possibly. Either.
That's the point that I'm trying to make. They focus so much on the battle between them that he was the bad guy, when really, I mean, they could see from his actions so far that he wasn't just going around killing random civilians. You know what I mean? He was technically trying to protect that town, that city, whatever. So they could see that he wasn't really a threat on a large scale. Like, yes, he was, flicking people off into the sea and stuff, but they were a threat to these people that had saved or that had woke him up from this tomb. So, that was a little bit because they could see that he wasn't too big of a threat, and yet they were like, well, we need to, lock you up in this, prison underwater, and you go to full on extremes when, he wasn't really the threat, and they knew that there was a threat coming. Like there was something on their ship that they were holding that was a bigger threat than, what Black Adam would have been. So that was a little bit on there. But overall, I think it was a really good introduction to the character, because I feel like DC sort of needed this to, reignite that Superman coming back and things like that. And obviously that was, a huge thing at the end there. And I think that even though we thought that those characters were a little bit on the flat side, the younger ones with Cyclone and Atom Smasher there, I think that that'll be like a good introduction to them. Like now they could include a series of the Justice Society, because, we saw that when they, that spaceship, I'm calling it a spaceship, I don't actually know what it's called, but that ship came out from underground, and you saw that like big school it looked like, so obviously the society has, other superheroes and stuff as well, not just these 2 characters. So I think it's a good way to introduce who else they have there under their wings.
I think I agree in terms of like seeing more of the Justice Society in the future would be cool for sure. I just kind of wish like the movie didn't have the human characters, or maybe they had the human characters to summon the Rock back obviously to life, And then the rest of the movie was just focused on like the Justice Society and Black Adam facing off against each other, and more focused on the villain.
Yeah.
Would have been a far better movie because again, I mean, what did you think about the human characters?
I thought the mum was pretty good. Like at the start, I was like, oh, this girl's like Tomb Raider, you know, like climbing around, and she was pretty cool. But then and I liked her like moral sort of compass, I guess. But I mean, the stuff with the kid did get annoying, and I really did find that thing cringy. And then when the people started, sorry, I'm really annoyed with that. I was like, you're not like Wakanda, you know what I mean? Like you got to build up to stuff like that. You can't just bust in with it. Anyway, maybe I'm just a bit biased there. Yeah, but the part that I did go, oh my god, really, this is so cringy, is and I get why they did it, the people power at the end where you've got the skeletons coming out, which I thought also we didn't need. And you've got, you know, the people just using pipes and stuff to smack these skeletons down. And I was just like, I get it. You know, you want the people to have the power back in their city and their town and fight back, but that's kind of a cringy way to show that. So that people part was a bit annoying, but same with you. You know, let's have Black Adam fight, you know, the Justice Society, and you can have the little family there, but it was very focused around that family. Like even the brother got, you know, included in a lot of scenes that I was like, okay, I thought you were just the driver, but okay, here we go. So anyway, the family part might have been overdone, but
them skeletons were the worst enemies ever.
Honestly, it was like you could flick them and they would die. It was very, very cringy.
Right.
Ryan says, I find it interesting they chose this director. Most of his past films are horror or Liam Neeson films.
I noticed that as well. I think this director also did Jungle Cruise recently with The Rock last year as well.
Which I said I liked and you didn't like. We're on the same boat again with a different movie.
Right.
Yeah, I liked Jungle Cruise. I liked this. I thought it was a good introduction. What did you think, Ryan? I know you saw it the other day with your son. So what did you think about that? As I said, I thought it was a good, I mean, it's not perfect and it's not going to, you know, make everybody be like, oh, DC is back. But it's definitely on the right track for it, I think. But
I think going forward in the future it's going to be interesting, which I know is another topic we've got to discuss today as well, which I'll touch more on when we get to that.
I'll pop it on now. We'll jump into it now, hey?
All right, cool.
Shoo. And I'm sorry. I mean, I just got to say this real quick while it's up there. I loved Hawkman. I really did. But this might be in the comics. I don't know. And to be honest, I don't really care. That headpiece, that nose, oh my God. It was just so frustrating. It was really frustrating. I was like, can you just not wear that, please? It's really annoying me. And I liked him as a character, but I did not like that headpiece, did not like that nose thing going on with the beak. But I loved his wings. I loved how fluent he moved, and the CGI on him I thought looked really, really good. Like I thought, they really went all out on him.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, to be honest, I've never really looked at his headwear. I didn't pay attention to it.
Oh, could you not? It was so frustrating.
I think it's just because the wings always looked awesome, you know.
Yeah,
so I paid more attention.
Fluent they come out.
Yeah, I didn't mind him. To be honest, I thought he was a good character. I would have liked to have seen the movie, no humans, The Rock versus Justice Society. Then he comes to a realization. Then we've got a team up, get rid of the bad guy. End of movie.
Yeah, fair enough. There we go. Finally got there in the end. So
cool.
The news that back it up. The news that James Gunn and Peter Safran are co-heads, I guess you could call it, over at DC Studios.
Yeah, I heard about this. I'm not too sure who Peter Safran is.
Come on. There we go. I'll pause it there. He is a producer for Disney. He's already made, well, he didn't make it himself, but he was already involved in Shazam, and then Aquaman as well was the other one. And I think he made I haven't watched them. You probably have the Conjuring. Is it?
Oh, Conjuring movies.
Yeah, those ones.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah, he was a part of that franchise as well, which obviously I haven't watched because I don't do that sort of stuff. But yeah, he was a part of that. So he's already been in the DC world before. But sorry, I'll just go back to these ones real quick. I liked it more than Mike.
Yeah.
My son loved it, but it was his first superhero movie in a theater. Oh, that's lovely. I'm surprised that you liked it, Ryan, because yeah, you're not really superhero-ish, but that's good. I'm glad you did. I did as well. Apparently nobody else did. I mean, it made pretty good at the box office. It was 67 million. That's pretty good. I mean, Thor made 30.
Oh yeah, I mean it's on track at the moment to be like a big hit for sure. Yeah.
So there are other people that liked it.
I think people are just interested because the thing is from what I've noticed, high exploitation reviews.
Hi, nice to meet you.
People aren't, which is a fair comment. I think the thing is, what I've noticed anyway, is whenever The Rock's in a movie, whether it's a superhero one or whether it's a generic action movie that he's in, like people always turn out to watch his movies. But of course, he's got like movie fans. He's also got wrestling fans as well. Like I'm a wrestling fan of his from back in the day.
Yeah.
So I think with Black Adam, and especially with how he's kind of said on record, like, oh, it's going to change the hierarchy of the DC or whatever. People's like, oh, right, okay, well, how's he going to do that?
Do you think that he has?
Yes, in a way, yeah. So I think this all kind of relates down to the news that we're about to get onto in a second with the James Gunn thing, because I know The Rock was pretty much responsible for getting Henry Cavill back as Superman.
Yeah. I think also though that, as you were saying, like The Rock played a big part in that. And I don't think personally that this is going to be, The Rock fights Superman and that be the end of it. I don't think that that's where The Rock's contract's going to go. Like he's in this for the long term. And I think that he can drag this out for the long term because as you said, he's got so many fans. Like sure, there's going to be people that are a bit jealous because, they don't look like that. But there's also a lot of people that do like his work, I mean, usually it's all goofy and stuff, but it's good to see him in this different role, I think.
I think for me, for like Black Adam, I really liked him as Black Adam. So, like every movie, he's always like the big muscular action hero kind of guy. But I think like his physique helps in this movie because it makes him like more of a, like when you see him in that suit, I know in like a little behind the scenes feature, they originally wanted to use padding in his suit. And then put on him, and he's like,
"You
don't need padding." Like he's built himself up to look like that.
Look at me, dude. I don't need padding.
Right. He said because The Rock was laughing about it in an interview. He's like for me, like when he had that padding on his suit, he said he looked stupid because he's already a big built guy anyway. Okay. He's like, what do I need padding for?
Yeah. I got a lot of comments here that I want to get to. There's a few that are relating to the other topic. Yeah, hey, Jace.
We'll be doing well. Jumanji's a fun action movie. Yeah, I like him in that one. What else we got?
Sorry, I'm reading and running through. It feels like we're covering B and C level superheroes now. Are there any major ones to cover anymore? Who's
a lot? Yeah. I guess.
Sorry, not that one. The next comment. Can I just pop it up and then we'll come back to that?
Yeah, go for it.
Who's more muscular?
Oh, The Rock. The Rock, 100%.
This is the topic I want to cover on my show. Oh yeah, definitely The Rock.
The Rock, yeah.
Where was that other one gone?
I mean, Hemsworth gives him a run for his money, especially like the last Thor movie. The movie's rubbish, but his physique, he's got bigger arms and everything.
Yeah. Oh, he's been working out. Thor, let's forget that one. Yeah. Oh, I hated it too, Ryan, as you already know. But yeah, I was just comparing like the turnouts, I guess. Like everyone's saying they don't like Black Adam, but like 67 million to bring in is a lot in comparison to 30, which Thor brought in. And really, Marvel are like, I don't want to say at their peak, but like everybody, they're at the top. Everybody knows they're at the top of the game. So yeah, the difference in the turnout there's a lot, I think.
Yeah, I think like in terms of going forward, I think it's going to be interesting because I know from what I've heard from comic book fans, because I've not read them myself, is there's a big rivalry in the comics of like Black Adam versus Superman versus Shazam. Now, obviously in Shazam, we got a teaser in that post-credit scene of like Superman's body, but you didn't see the head because it wasn't Henry Cavill at the time. Obviously,
we didn't know what was happening.
Yeah. So they've already teased, well, Shazam knows Superman. And then obviously at the end credits of this one, it's teased where Superman now meets Black Adam. So the thing is with having The Rock, as he's one of the biggest stars in Hollywood, with Jason says, which I agree with, is he's got his own production company. So the thing is with The Rock is every time he makes a movie, it's always 7 Bucks Productions, which is his.
Yeah. Right.
So imagine DC, Warner Brothers, when they go to make a movie, they might be like, oh, we'll put 10 million, and The Rock will be like, oh, well, we'll put 60 million, you know? So I think that's why The Rock is like a big pivotal person to have in any superhero franchise.
Yeah.
Because again, he's also got Henry Cavill back, which DC didn't have before. They were pretty much getting rid of him.
Yeah.
You know, so if The Rock's already persuaded Henry Cavill to come back, he's obviously got a big plan in motion to be like, right, we want to do X, Y, and Z with your character going forward. And this is what we want to build upon, you know? So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, I think it'll be good. And from what I know, like, correct me in the comments, because as you know, I don't watch a lot of movies. I'm more TV. But I don't think The Rock has worked with James Gunn or Peter Safran yet. Do you think? Have you known anything?
Don't think he has, no.
Yeah. So that would be like a real good, well, people are saying, you know, it could go both ways because it could not work, but also what an opportunity. Like, what if it does? Because James Gunn is creative as shit. Do you know what I mean? Like, I loved Guardians of the Galaxy. That's in probably my top 5 favorite Marvel movies. I really enjoy it. I love the family. I love the humor. Everything lands. And whether that's, you know, the creative side of things, whether it's the writing, whether it's Chris Pratt, and, you know, I really find him funny, usually, not in Mario. Yeah, I'm not quite sure. But either way, I think, you know, going forward with him, things are going to be not so dark. You know, DC for me lately, I think, has been a little bit, and I'm not against it. Like, I love everything that DC has put out, I think. Maybe Justice League, not so much. But, and there's complaints with all of them, obviously, but I like them. Like, I definitely watch them. So, I'm not, you know, saying, oh, Marvel's better, DC's better, or anything like that. I'm just saying that I find it a little bit on the, like, darker side of things. And I think James Gunn can, like, bring the fun back or the light back, or sort of like the hope back to Superman, if that sounds a little bit cheesy, you know, like, I don't know, just make it a little bit more fun.
Right. Yeah, I think he would be the perfect person to do that for sure. I think going forward, it's going to be interesting where they go. Yeah, Shazam's definitely made for like full on comedy.
And I think too with Shazam, it was like a lot for the younger audience as well. Like, there was a lot of kids involved and stuff like that. Whereas the Black Adam side of things, it can be, as I said at the start, like more serious, where it is that little bit darker. But you've still got little bits of The Rock still in there, you know, like his sarcasm and stuff. It's not so much comedy, but just the way that he says some lines and stuff. Like, I thought it was, a little bit more, I don't know. I don't want to say fun, because most of the fun was from the action, but
right,
yeah, I didn't find Black Adam jokey. Like, I wasn't sitting there going, oh, that was cringy, why did they put that line in? I mean, the kids' lines were cringy, but nothing to do with the character himself, you know?
Yeah,
I didn't think
so I think the interesting thing here, and I don't know if you heard about this or not, but when they were editing Black Adam to be released, I think it went through at least 4 or 5 edits, like full movie edits, because I think originally it was going to be rated R.
Yeah.
And then they wanted to dumb it down so it was obviously suitable for... So, for example, here in the UK, it's a 12A, so you have to be 12 years or older, or you can be accompanied by an adult and you can see the movie. So, obviously, they've made it, at least here in the UK, where it's going to get more people watching it, like 12-year-old kids, you know?
Yeah.
Whereas I think it's going to be interesting with this news with James Gunn, you were saying, where if he's going to be ahead of movies going forward, Like, are they going to make Black Adam more where the deaths in the movie going forward it's going to be a bit more bloody, like the Suicide Squad was? Because I'm assuming he's going to probably want them in this universe with them all. Depends how he handles Superman as well. I think it's going to be interesting because, like, how's he going to fit the Suicide Squad in with Superman, for example, and all that blood and carnage that we just saw like last year? You can't really, unless you. I think DC would benefit from having more of a darker graphic universe with some comedy thrown in, like the Suicide Squad.
Yeah, I thought that was great, and James Gunn had a hand in that as well. You know what I mean? So again, that was a very dark, like as you said, very gory, completely like very dark, but also fun.
Yeah.
Like I had so much fun watching that movie. I laughed a lot watching that movie. So yeah, I think he'll be a good fit. And I've just got a comment here from Ryan that I want to pop in about Peter Safran. So he produced your favorite Nun movie, Mike?
Sack him.
It's shit. It sucks. It's gonna suck. Why did they hire him?
Honestly, Jamie, it is the biggest pile of trash of a horror movie you'll ever see.
Is that not the one that you said to me they're getting a second one? Is that the one that you were telling me?
And that's getting the second movie, yeah.
I
don't know how.
Oh, that's so bad. That is so bad. I'd like a good Swamp Thing movie, maybe based on Alan Moore Run. Wanted to like the series.
Yeah,
again,
I think if anyone's going to make like a fun universe, which obviously I think James Gunn's already said after Guardians 3, that's his last one with Marvel. And obviously the Christmas special obviously coming up. So I think the thing is, when he did the Suicide Squad, that was when Marvel fired him for like tweets of like 10 years ago or whatever. The DC was like, right, let's snap him up. So obviously they got him for the Suicide Squad. And then Marvel was like, oh, shit, what did we do?
Yeah.
So that's when they got him back. But now, obviously, if DC's hired him, James Gunn's clearly coming to an end of a contract with Marvel. And I think they're going to not do anything else with them going forward. Probably just have his name on maybe Guardians properties going forward, but he won't be directing them, I would have thought.
Yeah.
So I think if he's going to create a universe, because he's going to be working closely with The Rock, working closely with probably Henry Cavill, Ben Affleck, because I've heard Ben Affleck's Batman's going to live and he's going to be like a main Batman with Michael Keaton.
Yeah. I thought I heard that too. I was talking to my other friend about it and he's like, no, Affleck's definitely done. And I'm like, are you sure? Because I swear, unless I dreamt it, that, he was coming back and he was going to produce things and stuff. But I don't know. Could have been wrong. I could have been just imagining it. But I thought I heard that news as well. Not news, but, rumors going around as well.
I think it's going to be interesting because I've also heard in the report that James Gunn isn't on like great terms with Zack Snyder either.
Well, this was, I think, where some of the beef was with the news about that James Gunn and that joining, because I think everybody wanted Snyder to continue,
right?
Their Snyderverse or whatever they call it. But I personally think that this is the better option because, I mentioned about the darkness and stuff like that. Why is that still playing? And also James Gunn did Peacemaker, obviously, which everybody seems to like. I haven't watched it yet, so I can't really jump on board that, but I want to jump on board that. Just haven't had time. What was I saying?
Right.
Everybody wanted, everybody wanted
about partnership.
Yeah, Schneider to come in. Whether they've got beef with each other or not, who knows? Who cares? But I think that cutting off that chapter and, everybody was calling it the extended universe and things like that, like the DCEU, Warner Brothers have come out and said, that's not a thing. We're not doing that anymore. It's the DCU, and that's what we're sticking with. Not a rebranding, but I guess it in a way sort of is, you've got a new brand or new name. You've got some new, people at the top, executive CEOs, whatever they're calling them. And you've got new characters. Well, I think new characters, someone like Black Adam coming in and sort of like giving this brand a shake up, I guess you could call it. And I'm all for it. I think that's the route that you need to go down. I don't think bringing people from the past in, to please a certain group of fans is going to be the way forward. I don't think. So I'm all on board for this. I think this is a great move. What about you?
Yeah, I think it's always going to be one of those where you're going to have that kind of feeling, be like, oh, what if Zack Snyder came back in and what if he complete this Snyder's first kind of thing, you know? But again, I think with DC, the most logical thing they can do, especially with they've gotten a partnership with Discovery as well, I believe. Again, it's one of those things where they've got The Rock under a contract right now, whether that's for one movie or 17 movies in the future, we don't know. But again, as I was saying before, because he's got his own production company, he's automatically adding that to any franchise he goes into.
Yeah.
So that means, like, ultimately, you know, Warner Brothers are probably going to be paying less because The Rock's going to be contributing money towards his production company, giving them half the money, whatever, to do it. So it just makes perfect, like, logical sense to have him as a big partner, work with James Gunn, work with Peter Safran, and create a vision that's going to combine all this mess together at the minute to make something that is like DC's actually own universe. And I say, I think by getting Henry Cavill back and them going to link up with Shazam, I think that's what's going to happen. A comment that Jason had not too long ago, he was on about like Black Adam being a bad guy. That's the one. Yeah. So today I've popped around to my mum's house and saw my younger brother, who's a massive superhero fan. Like, he knows his comics and stuff like that. He says in the comic, Black Adam is a bad guy. So I wouldn't be surprised going forward. Like, you know, Black Adam at the moment is kind of like an anti-hero as such. I wouldn't be surprised, you know, if Shazam and Superman team up, Black Adam becomes a bad guy where they all maybe have to fight him at the end.
I think The Rock has come out and said he doesn't want to be the bad guy. So I think that they're going to sort of like work it a little bit differently because he doesn't want to be a villain. Personal reasons, you know, he doesn't want to be portrayed as that. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what I've heard in some interviews. So that's why I was really confused going into this, because I was like, is this a bad guy? Like, they're making him look like a bad guy, but I've never heard of him. So, you know, what? But I think that they're going to, as you said, like Shazam and Superman are definitely going to, you know, have battles with him and have obviously conflict between them, because they, you know, Superman is this moral good guy, goody two shoes, you know, I don't want to kill, I want to protect everybody and everyone live happily ever after. Whereas, you know, Black Adam's on the opposite side of the fence, where he's like, I don't care, I can kill, I'm a god, I do what I want. You know, I think one of his lines was like, I kneel before no one. Like, you know, he's got this arrogance to him, which is great. But where was I going with that? I don't know. It's too early here, clearly. Fuck. The battle. So yeah, I think that Superman is definitely gonna, you know, come and, you know, butt heads with him. But I think they might work it a little bit like they did with Cap and Iron Man over in the Marvel franchise, because, you know, obviously they didn't agree at some point and they made Iron Man out to be, you know, the villain. So I think they might do similar things with this, you know, like portray him as, even though we know he's got a good moral compass, they sort of give off that impression that he's the villain in that one movie or that one part of the story, and then they'll have a team up, you know what I mean? So maybe Superman and Black Adam will obviously they're going to battle, but then in the future, in the movies, as you said, it's not going to be just one, you know, in the future we might see them come together to kill off God knows who. That's what I think might happen anyway.
Yeah,
I don't know how you can give someone a villain part who doesn't want to play villain. Like, it's not going to work.
Yeah, I think the issue is, as you said, with like The Rock, is like he's known a lot by the kids, isn't he? Like, a lot of kids know The Rock, so I think it's more he probably can't be a villain even if he wanted to.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know if you want to contribute to that one, but I've got D Movie Man as well saying stuff about Black Adam. Sorry if we're just focusing on Black Adam, but the comments are coming through about that. I know we moved on a little bit, but yeah, we can jump back and forward between the two.
Didn't know I'm not too sure about this comment here.
I didn't know what it meant, so I left it.
I don't know what Toxic 4 is.
Okay, we'll move on from that because I'm not sure either.
We'll see if he comes back to it.
Okay.
But hey,
so
D,
hey, D. I never thought Black Adam was going to be an actual villain once The Rock was on board. Another reason why this role could have been portrayed by someone else.
Right. I kind of agree, because especially with the ending of Black Adam, in this confrontation with Superman, where he clearly says to Amanda Waller, which links in the Suicide Squad. He clearly says, there's no one on this planet that can beat me. And she's like, oh, well, I can call in favors. So already it's set up as like everything that he was doing at the end of that movie, and kind of feeling like, oh, maybe I shouldn't be a villain, maybe I should help people. And that post-credit scene was like, nah, they're out the way, let me be a villain. So I feel like with The Rock, in a way, it's good that they got him on board, but in a way, if Black Adam is a bad guy in the comics because he's meant to go against Superman, it kind of defeats that point.
Yeah. Sorry, you're a bit laggy on my end, so I'm just waiting for you to catch up.
Oh, okay.
There's a strange trend in movies where the bad guy is the protagonist, Joker, Venom, Morbius, Suicide Squad. Yeah, I'm a little bit biased with this because I've always got a thing for these guys. I'm always rooting for these people. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm all for this, Jace. Good point, D. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll move on from that. Black Adam, I thought it was good. I like where they're going with it. I'm interested to see where they take the character and what they decide to do with The Rock. But back to the James Gunn, Peter Safran thing. What was your opinions on that? Sorry. Did you think that was a good idea? Good move?
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting where they go with it. And if they've like sat down with The Rock and all the DC actors and said, right, this is maybe a plan we've got right now, and this is the route we're going to go in. I just think they need to make these movies kind of a little bit R-rated, especially if they're going to bring in the Suicide Squad into that. They can't really have them blown off heads, and then you got Superman just punching someone, and that's it.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. And I'm also interested to see if there was well, obviously there was an R-rated cut because they did cut this down. I think it was like 3 hours or something. And what did it end up being? 2 hours and something minutes? 2 hours
something like that.
12 maybe. Yeah, anyway, so I'd be interested to see that R-rated cut and how that turned out. But yeah, I think this is a good move as well going forward, these two. And also, I know I shouldn't be comparing the two franchises, but I also like the idea. I think I've talked to you about this before, that at Marvel, everything seems to be overseen by Kevin, right? One person. And that's why the Blade thing has now been put on the delayed, and Deadpool delayed, all these delays, because with the Blade one specifically, they were supposed to start filming in November, and just now he's looking at the script going or the actor obviously said he didn't want to do it because the script was shit, but Kev's looking at it going, oh shit, this isn't good, this isn't what we wanted, or he wanted as an actor, and therefore the fans won't want. So they have to backtrack, go back to the writing board, go back to maybe even casting, who knows. And it's all overseen by like one guy. And in my opinion, he's a very arrogant guy because he mocked the shit out of me and insulted me in She-Hulk. So I'm very, very bitter at the moment. But my point is overlooked by one person. So I really like the fact that there's going to be two people to bounce off, like a creative person and a business mind sort of person. And I think that will be a really good balance, I guess, to sort of, make these DC franchise a competitor for Marvel. You know what I mean? Like Marvel are getting, in my opinion, a little bit arrogant. I don't know who, but the way that She-Hulk was handled personally, I mean, I know a lot of people think differently, and I'm just going over the top here, getting emotional, but I was really insulted by that. I was like, I'm a Marvel fan. I've always been a Marvel fan. I've given you my money. I've given you my time. I've given you my love. And you know that. And you're sitting there going, ha, thanks.
Right.
It was insulting, truly. And I think hello, nice to meet you. I think having two people at the top of the table is going to be a good move.
Yeah, I agree.
This was going back to the earlier comments. So it was silly for Disney to fire Gunn because everybody already knew what kind of jokes he made. He was a trauma guy. Of course, he made offensive jokes. And he commented about the trauma thing because I didn't know what that was. A production company. They make trashy exploitation films like Toxic Adventure.
Right. Okay, I get what he means now. Yeah.
Basically, he's always been opinionated and he's always made his opinion heard. That's nothing new, right? Well, I think so anyway.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, those tweets from like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
He came out, he apologized about it, and they're like, nah, see you later.
Yeah. People like to bring up trouble though, don't they?
Yeah. But one comment you mentioned I do agree with is I think Marvel is getting a bit like arrogant, kind of cocky in a way. And I think that's
just my personal thoughts. That's not everybody, but yeah.
No, I agree with you because I think the thing is they've had this like magic 10 years as such of this big long plan, and it's paid out obviously in Endgame.
Yeah.
And then Spider-Man No Way Home, that was awesome as well. But then like once they started this TV series idea, I think they paid care and attention to like the first 2 or 3 like shows like WandaVision, Falcon, Winter Soldier, and Loki. And then after that, it's kind of like almost if their mindset at the moment is like whatever trash or if it's good or not we put out, people's going to watch it anyway.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what it's been like, whereas I think the 2-person partnership, as you're saying, both of them's got a little bit of like a kind of like a fantasy horror kind of background.
Yeah.
Like James Gunn, who helped write the original Scooby-Doo live action movies, he originally wanted them to be a horror movie back in like 2000s. So working now with a horror
producer, yeah,
like especially with the Suicide Squad, that was element of horror and guts and gore and everything,
but fun. It wasn't dark, even though it was gory and it was like very R-rated. It was fun. You still had a lot of fun with it. Oh, I thought it wasn't dark like the way that I pictured the DC universe prior to that. But yeah, same with you. I think the balance of the two, like having the horror with the Peter and then also James Gunn, you said with the horror elements, but I when I think of him, I think of fun. I think of creative and everything's just fun, funny but not cheesy or not over the top. So yeah, I'm with you. I think that's good.
Yeah. I think they're going to give him a lot of creative control for him to sign on as well. So I feel like because at Marvel, when he's making these Guardians projects like the Christmas special and then the third one, they probably give him control to be like, right, obviously direct the third movie, but ultimately they'd be like, right, we need this to play into this project in 4 years' time, make sure it fits into this, Whereas DC at the moment, because they're a bit all over the place with their EU, they're probably like, right, you and Peter, fix it,
But they have to take their time to fix it because like Marvel worked up to the Avengers, you know what I mean? Like we had 10 movies before we got our like team up. That's the same with this. You can't just throw these characters in and be like, work. Like you need to show. I literally to this day still don't even know shit about Cyborg. Like I know about him because we got a little bit of that backstory, I guess. But I don't care for him. Why don't I care for him? Because I don't have a movie that is focused on this character and introduced me to like this character. And that was part of the reason why Marvel, I think, are falling behind at the moment because we're getting these introductions that are sort of just not working. Like the She-Hulk thing, they tried to put way too many people in there. Let's just focus on She-Hulk. Tell me about Jen. I want to know about Jen because I don't know shit about Jen. I know that after she became She-Hulk, she had all this trouble and she wanted a man. She wanted blah, 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 whatever. She didn't want to be a superhero. That's the main point I got from it. But what did she want? She wanted to have a career, but did she want a family? Did she want a man? Because none of that prior to her becoming She-Hulk was ever introduced. I don't know shit about her. And then add to that, the whole thing was a complete joke and just throwing in cameos and crap about nothing that none of it made any sense. And again, I'm going off topic because it's going to piss me off. But my point is, give us these movies that introduce these people. Let us get to know these DC characters before you just like chuck them in a team up and expect it to work. So be in it for the long term, which I think they are because, they're on a 4-year contract, I think Jay said. So, take that time to really flesh out these people so we can get to know them, get to love them. And while Marvel's in my opinion, back end where you've got a few fans like myself who were loyal and are now going, what the fuck? This is their time to swoop in and sort of take us.
Right.
Not that we're not already there, but anyway.
Right.
I've got D saying they stretch themselves way too thin with the increased amount of films and shows. Absolutely. Maybe if there were a couple of films and shows in 1 year, we said this in our last stream, absolutely, there would be a lot more quality over quantity. Absolutely.
Yeah, as I was saying before, Jim, like to emphasize that D's point, like what we just discussed there, is because of this maybe attitude that they've got at the moment, like they've thrown like Miss Marvel at the wall, they've thrown like She-Hulk at the wall recently, and they're just hoping it kind of like sticks, or the fans are going to be like, oh, well, we'll watch it anyway because we need to find out how it links in.
Yeah.
But like myself, I'll hold my hands up, and I've said this to you before, like Miss Marvel, I haven't bothered wasting my time on. She-Hulk, I haven't bothered wasting my time on.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I think it's just at the minute Marvel's too bothered about quality, like the quantity, whereas before, like the Infinity Saga felt like quality and like a lot of love, care, and attention to get that 10-year plan to pay off.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's just like, oh, we'll just throw shit at the wall and hope it sticks.
Yeah.
Which I don't know how they've changed from that kind of passion to just being like, throw it at the wall,
Well, I think maybe ego. Maybe they know that they're at the top. Maybe they know that people are going to watch it regardless. Because let's be fair, I am. I mean, you're not because you're like, I don't have the time. But I'm sitting there going, I want to see everything. And sure, I might hate some of it, but I want to watch it all. And that's, because I'm a fan and I want to like it. But they put in the hard yards to get to here. And now that they're here and they've sort of gone, we're so good, we're at the top and no one can chase us. This is the chance for DC to sort of come in and be like, well, we can do it too. We can be good. We just have to have that patience and, have the casting, I think. And now I think they've got it, with The Rock and with Henry Cavill. I think everything moving forward should be good now. And who knows, like these projects that have been canned, like might come back, like the Batgirl one that was just canned, that might come into action if people want that. I'm not quite sure if people do, but there's a lot of projects that they can really, take on. And I think this is a good opportunity for them to sort of reinvent DC.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and especially with, as we said about that post-credit scene in Black Adam, like the Black Adam's already met Amanda Waller, even if it was virtually.
Yeah.
Which again ties in the Suicide Squad, which is perfect for like James Gunn.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm interested as to where it goes.
Yep. Alrighty. Let's move on to our next topic, which you are going to take the lead on because I fucking hate clowns. And really, I don't want to put the pictures up, but for our stream purposes, I am going to. But oh my god, tell me about this. Tell me about Terrifier 2. Oh.
All right, cool. Yeah, so basically, for anyone who doesn't know about Terrifier and like kind of what this is all around and stuff, so basically, it is by a director called Damien Leone, who I had the pleasure of meeting like 1 week ago when me and my partner Emma went to like a horror Comic-Con. And basically, he made this independent movie called Terrifier on $35,000 budget, and that was it.
Wow.
Which is very impressive. Yeah. And the good thing about that movie is it's all practical effects. So Art the Clown, who you can see in this poster right here at the back, he's basically just this clown who will kill you if you get in his way, and he's going to do it in the goriest of fashions, basically. So it's extreme body horror, let me put it that way. So the news about Terrifier 2 that I wanted to kind of discuss on the stream is, I guess, the importance of movies using practical effects over CG. Yeah. But also, this movie right here, Terrifier 2, it cost $250,000 to make, which is nothing really in today's standards.
Yeah.
And already at the US box office, it's taken like over 5 million. In a short amount of time, people in audiences have been passing out and fainting and vomiting.
Spewing up, yeah.
Right.
Were you sick?
No, because I can handle like a lot of body horror.
Okay.
I think it's more for people who don't like that kind of stuff, or maybe faint at the sight of like a drop of blood, for example. Like those kind of people will probably have maybe that effect at this movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, but like the point I just wanted to make was that, like this kind of movie here, not even $1 million in a budget, and it can go on to just literally make records in box offices, be put on more. Like I know it was like kind of like doing better than Halloween Ends in terms of like the rise of the box office.
Yeah, right.
Which
That's
is crazy.
surprising. Yeah.
Right.
I'm just trying to get to that next one because I think it said how much they made. Didn't you send me a picture? Where is it? No, maybe not. Maybe that was it.
I'm not sure.
Anyway, I thought you sent me how much it made at the box. Oh, there we go. Yeah. Yeah, 5 mil. Is that what you said?
Yeah, so already there it says it looks like it's made like nearly 6 million.
Yeah.
And again, that's just off a movie that's $250,000 budget maximum. It's got no big studios behind it or like backing this movie up or anything. And this is just like a horror that's unrated.
Yeah.
So it's violent as hell. You wouldn't like it.
Well, I was just about to pop that comment up, but I didn't want to be rude. But Ryan said the same thing. They announced Terrifier 2 on 4K. Mike, are you grabbing it? I still need to watch. At least I watched the first one now. Jamie, I know you won't be able to watch this. It's gruesome. I won't be able to watch it because it's a clown.
Yeah. I don't like horror as well, though. So
yeah.
So to answer your question, Ryan, yeah. So I saw that in America. It's been announced on 4K. For me, in the UK when it was getting released, it was either on DVD or it was on like a Blu-ray double pack with the first movie. And I'm just waiting for them to release it on 4K or like a special edition version. I'll definitely be adding it to the collection. Yeah, I enjoyed both movies. I'm intrigued to hear Ryan's thoughts when he checks out the second one.
Sorry, one sec.
No, it's all right. Got Chelsea there, so hi, Chelsea. But yeah, Ryan, answer your question. I will be grabbing it on 4K. I want to know if anyone's watching right now if they've seen Terrifier or Terrifier 2 and what they thought of it. I know Ryan really enjoyed the first one.
I was just trying to read about that plot there. It said after being resurrected by a sinister entity. Hold on, baby. Let me turn it up.
Yeah. So basically, it literally follows straight on from the first movie. So if you are interested in Terrifier, I would definitely just recommend watching the first movie because it follows straight on from that.
Okay. I don't even know why I was interested in the plot there. I'm not going to watch it. I'm never going to watch it. Let's be honest. I just wanted to read it. But anyway, so you guys recommend that? You think that's a good for horror enthusiasts? I guess you could call it. You would say that that's a good movie, yeah?
Yeah, and I think it's just a fact of like again also just an independent kind of like indie company making a movie less than $1 million and already smashing records at box office.
Yeah.
And that's just for this kind of movie, you know. So hopefully it kind of just makes notice and more companies start using practical effects again because they hold up in movies than like CG heavy.
Yeah.
Because there's other moments in CG in Black Adam, I was like, that looks like a green screen,
Yeah. Well, that costs a lot of money to make. You know what I mean?
Oh, definitely.
As we were saying before, this didn't cost that much, and it still did really, really well. So it goes to show that CGI isn't everything.
Right.
Jay says art is an interesting name for a killer clown.
Well, he's creating art with dead bodies.
Oh yeah.
Put it that way.
Can't even. And like, what's he even holding there? Is he holding like a spiked bat or something?
So in the second movie, just to explain this, what he's holding is he's got like a workshop where he like creates weapons and stuff. And basically on this like wooden mallet is like the end of a fork, like nails, like a knife, like razor blades and stuff. Yeah, he's got all that under like this mallet.
Bloody hell. So he's just a person dressed as a clown, right? Like just some psycho?
Kind of, yeah. But at the same time, he gets resurrected by a supernatural entity.
Oh, okay, right.
So he's a bit of both, I would say.
Okay. Anyway, I've heard good things about it from people, like in the reviews. People were talking it up like it's great. And as you said, if it's got more like good reception, I don't know if that's the word I'm looking for there, but like I'm going to call it that, good reception compared to something like Halloween Ends, then yeah, fuck, way to go. Little budget, great profit, good.
Right. Yeah, certainly interesting.
Yeah, fans are obviously liking it. The next topic that we have, which I'm really excited about, is did I put it in? There we go. Vision Quest. So it is rumored that we are getting Vision Quest on Disney Plus. So it'll be a series specifically around White Vision. I'm so pumped for this. I'm really excited because obviously most people know that I really loved WandaVision. I really love Vision and Wanda together in general. And I'm curious to see where he's been. It's been a long time. I really thought that in Multiverse of Madness, we would have at least had a mention about Vision. She didn't ever once mention her love apart from her children. So I thought, where's White Vision? What's White Vision doing? And yeah, I'm really interested to see what the go is there. What about you? Do you think this is a yay or nay?
A bit of both. So don't get me wrong. I'm intrigued to see which direction I'm going to go with it. Like you, I agree. I think Vision. I don't know if he's called just White Vision or Vision Quest, what they're calling this series.
Yeah.
I'm going to go White Vision. That's what I'm going to go with. I feel like White Vision should have popped up in Doctor Strange with Multiverse of Madness and maybe been a factor to stop Wanda being so evil. And then that would make sense as to why the series is. Be like, oh, well, where's he been? He's had this interaction with Wanda. I've heard a rumor that Wanda could be in this Vision Quest series. So that'll be interesting because we know by Doctor Strange Multiverse Madness she's still alive. She didn't kill herself in that rock tumble, whatever it was.
Although they want us to think that, yeah.
Now, the only thing is I'm a bit cautious about this series personally, is because with the Endgame and Infinity War, I think it was really good, kind of beautiful writing of how they killed Vision off and the trauma that Wanda went through because of that, and that's the whole point of WandaVision. And I feel like with Vision Quest, if they don't get that right, it kind of makes that ending and that series a bit redundant. Because
what if they get it right? What if Wanda gets her happily ever after? The one thing that I've really rooted for her in such a sad freaking life in the MCU, I want this happy ending. I want them to be together and have their kids and stuff. But also, again, I think I've talked to you about this, that Jace is into comics and reads the comics and then researches stuff on the internet, spoilers and things. And so I don't know how much of this is true. Don't quote me, please. In the comments, let me know if I'm right or wrong. But apparently Wanda has a love triangle with Wonder Man, is it?
With who?
Wonder Man, I think his name is. Some other guy, I think his real name's Simon. Some other guy, anyway, some other character. And he's in the comics, I think he is Vision versus White Vision. I think that's how it goes. He's got the body and one gives him the brain, or normal Vision has the body but he doesn't have the brain waves or the brain function, and they have to go to this Wonder Man to do it. I keep saying Wanda and Wonder. Wonder Man to give his brother, I guess, so to speak, the brain functions. I don't know. And he doesn't want to do it because he falls in love with Wanda. So there's this love triangle or something like that. And so that's an avenue that I guess they could explore if they wanted to introduce a new character. But I want Wanda and Vision to have this happy ending. So yeah, it was summed up really good. Hey, Josh.
Hey, Josh. Hope you're doing well.
You'll give it a go. Yeah, so yeah, I'm not quite sure if that's the avenue they'll go, or if they'll keep it simple as what's Vision been doing? How's he got his memories? Is he a part of S.H.I.E.L.D.? Is he a part of who's taken him in? What's happening, sort of thing? We know that he got memories back at the end of WandaVision there. So what has he done with them? Because he hasn't got emotion. He hasn't learnt how to function as a human yet, I guess. So, or human.
Right.
But yeah, I'm very interested if they take that other route too, the comic route where there's a love interest or a love triangle or something like that, because It sort of seems like she's not forgotten about Vision, but like she's accepted that he's dead, you know, and
Yeah.
that's something that she couldn't accept in WandaVision. That's why she created this world out of grief.
Mm.
So yeah, but yeah, he wasn't obviously around in Multiverse of Madness, and I would like to see why.
Right. Yeah. Out of the two options that you mentioned, I'd rather them just keep it simple and explain what he's been up to, what he's done with these memories, how he's going to try to develop emotions because he's learning from scratch as such.
Yeah.
I don't really see a love interest. But I guess the only other reason why I'm a little bit wary is because the writing on these shows recently have been awful, from what I've heard.
Yeah.
So if it's the case of the same writers are doing this and rushing it like they've done with like Miss Marvel, She-Hulk, which has been very divisive, like that's wary as to this series could be terrible, you know, when it should be the best series they've got.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I don't know how it'll go. I guess it depends on what we have coming out first, because I think, you know, they'll probably try and push Agatha first, you know, get the witch sort of thing out the way. And then maybe the Vision Quest will come, you know, when we're doing things like Secret Wars, or like when we're sort of going to need that Vision in our little team up, you know, whether it's with the Young Avengers or like a mentor to them, or yeah, so I think that'll definitely be way later down the track that we'll get this series. So hopefully they can get all this crap out of the way, you know, like I don't want to say not important stuff, but stuff like Agatha, which really doesn't have a big impact on the MCU. I don't personally think so. I think it's just sort of there. And yeah, so hopefully they can like sort of weed out all the bad shit now and then give us the good shit in the future. Hopefully they can work on it or practice on it, I guess. Jace says, can Wanda's character be redeemed after what she does in Doctor Strange?
Yeah.
Yeah, you go, because I'm biased.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously she did a lot of damage in that movie for sure. But obviously at the end of the movie, she starts to realize like what she's done, why she's been doing what she's been doing. And she obviously takes that fall at the end, getting like crushed by the rock so Doctor Strange can be saved. And America Chavez. And again, I think if like this Vision Quest series comes and this is the next time we see Wanda, for example, like it would just give more depth to her character, as you said, Jamie, to find that kind of like peace, to find love, maybe to have a happy life, and maybe in the future have it where she teams up with Doctor Strange and like they have a moment being like, "Oh, I'm sorry that I caused this issues with you," and that secret place where they went where all the worries and whatever are, and like apologize to them all, America Chavez and stuff like that, you know. So I think so. Again, it depends on the writing team for the series, and again, it depends if it's someone who actually pays love and care and attention to the project, or it's someone who just like the Blade situation, just trust them and just be like, just go with it.
Yeah. So, yeah.
What do you think?
I'm so biased. As you know, I'm going as as Scarlet Witch for Halloween. So I absolutely love Wanda. Absolutely love Elizabeth Olsen. The character, I'm maybe it's because I love the character so much that I am biased. I don't know, but I sort of sympathize with her because I think what a horrible life she's had. You know, she's lost her parents, she's lost her brother, she's lost the love of her life, which was a robot. Who cares? She created a family with these kids. She's lost her kids. Like she has everything. She's just been beaten down at every fucking level. And all she wants is a family. She doesn't want to be a superhero. She doesn't want to fight and save the world. She just wants a family. And I know the struggles of that. And it's really heartbreaking that she never gets what she wants. Like they're like, oh, we're going to tease it. Here you go. Nope, you can't have that either. So I want to see her have like a happy ending. And yeah, obviously her kids, you know, when we do get to see them involved in the MCU rather than just in a what's the word I'm looking for? Like a, you know, something that she created. When we do get to see them and team up with whoever it might be in the Young Avengers or whatnot. But you know, when we do get to see that sort of stuff, that's what I want to see. You know, like I want to see Wanda and her family, and yeah, like they can still fight and save the world, don't get me wrong, but I just feel really sad that she's had such a bad life and then they like, hey, you're a villain, you know, all because you want a family. I'm sorry, but it's just weak to me. It's so weak. Yeah, I feel like maybe I don't know why they gave her the villain role, but surely they could have. You could have found someone else that Doctor Strange could battle with. Come on, and introduce America Chavez that way. But I don't know. I think she can be redeemed, Jace. I think that I sympathize with her because I feel like all she wants is her family. All she wants is her boys back. So
right.
And they are alive in some sort of different, universe, and she just wanted to get there. I mean, hand over the girl and you won't get the world destroyed. Paul Wongers would still have his temple, but yeah, I don't know. I'm very biased there.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they play the series out and where they go with the character next.
Yeah, but it should be good. I'm down to see White Vision.
Yeah, it should be cool. I'm more interested, like you said, I'm more interested to be like, what's he been up to?
And
anything else.
Been like as we said, like there's been lots of things that have happened. Like you've got the Multiverse of Madness, and where was he in that? Like he didn't even need to pop up, but they could have at least mentioned, the Vision that was at, I forget what that town was called now. Anyway, White Vision's, now with S.H.I.E.L.D. or White Vision's, I don't know, just something. Like Wanda was in the cabin and she was practicing her magic. Where was he then? Why didn't he come find her and be like, I need help with these emotions. How do I do this? Do you know what I mean? Like he didn't reach out to her at all. And yet from the visions that, visions, no pun intended, from the vision that Vision gave to him in this scene, not that one.
It was one of these,
that one. So he gave him sort of the memories, and then he was like, you've got the data now, like you can process it however you want. So he's got those memories. Why didn't he go back to the one person that was in every freaking memory? Like Wanda was in everything, from the beginning of Vision's life, Jarvis, whatever you want to call him at the start. Wanda was there the whole time. So why wouldn't he go back to her, somebody who he can clearly see in these visions that wanted the best for him? And, she was never going to hurt Vision in any way. So why wouldn't he go back to her for help, if not anybody else?
Right.
So I don't know. I'm curious to see.
Just remind me for a second. Was WandaVision January 2021?
Hey, Pete.
Hey, Pete. Hope you're well.
Let me have a look. I've got my list of what came out when.
I'd like to say it was January last year. I might be wrong. Yeah, 2021. They kicked off the Phase 4 series. Yeah. The only reason I'm mentioning it is because I'm pretty sure that was like start of the year in 2021. That was like the first ever TV show they did.
Yeah.
I was wondering why they've left it like a year and a half to finally announce this series.
Well, it's not even announced yet. It's still just rumored. But I'm like,
oh, what?
How? I mean, obviously, I think it's going to go ahead.
I mean, it makes sense. I just don't know if it is true why they've left it nearly like 2 years to announce a series. Then obviously you have to make the series.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
And tie it in with what's already happening. Like we already said about the Agatha, what was that going to be called? The Coven thing that they're doing with her. So,
well, is the Agatha series set after WandaVision, or is it set like a prequel to it, or?
I think it is going to be a prequel because from what I know, Wanda isn't going to be in it. Like it's going to be about Agatha. So I think it's going to be more about, that the Coven and sort of what happened with her mum, like when they put her on the stake and stuff like that. I think it's going to be more about her life and why she wants the Darkhold rather than, anything to do with Wanda or what happened after that.
Right.
Yeah, after she's put in that hex. I don't know that for sure. I'd have to research that, but I think that's where they're going with it. I loved WandaVision. Glad we're seeing more Vision. Oh, good. Someone else wants to see it. Not just me, Pete. I think Wanda's my favorite character. Yes, not just me, Pete. Yeah, same thing. I think she's very conflicted. She's had a really tough life, and her decisions are sort of based around love, which is the one thing that she wants to find. And I can relate to that. I love that, because we don't really get that in that sort of that as the motivation. The motivation is usually saving the world, or with Doctor Strange, like doing the right thing, yada yada yada. And Wanda's like, I just want a happy life, man. Like, why are you giving me a shit time? So I'm down with you, Pete. I agree.
Hey, what's good?
Hey, we're just having a chat about the White Vision Quest Disney Plus series at the moment. So yeah, let us know in the comments if you want to see more of Vision, or if you're done with that chapter. That should be closed. I think that's it with our news. But did you want to have a chat about what you've watched and what we're going to watch in the next 2 weeks?
Yeah, sure. So next couple of weeks, I'm really not sure at this point. It really depends on like what comes out at the cinema, or I'm not too sure what's coming out. Whereas recently, I watched. So last night, me and Emma went to this like Halloween all night event.
Yeah.
It was just like horror movie, like back to back to back, like a different
after
horror
each
movie.
other. Yeah.
So we watched the Blair Witch Project was the first one.
Yeah, I saw that ticket. Yeah.
Yeah, the second one was Rec, or REC, however you see that movie.
Had you seen Blair Witch before that?
No. First time.
Really? That's one of I don't want to say one of the first scary movies, because I probably have watched other ones before that, but that's the one that I remember, or the one that I thought was like really scared me, because back in the day, that was real. They told us that footage was real footage, and I was young, and like we'd watch it with like a bunch of our guy friends, like they try and scare you and stuff. And where we watched it, like it backed onto like this field out the back, and there was like just bushes and stuff. So it was a very scary time watching that. And I thought that was like the scariest thing ever. And then it was like years later, and they're like, nah. I was like, oh great, there goes the fun in that. But yeah. Oh, so that's interesting that it was the first time watching that. Did you like it or not?
Yeah, I was all right. I mean, Emma likes it more than I do, but at the same time, from exactly what you just said, like I can appreciate like what it did back then, because again, like it made the most of like the internet kind of being like a fairly new kind of thing. Made the most of being like, this is real footage. Emma was telling me that for 1 year, all the actors went into hiding, so almost as if they'd been killed, kind of thing, to play this movie. Be like, oh, this is real.
Yeah.
So, like all that kind of stuff, like I can appreciate about the movie. So I watched a couple of horror movies yesterday. Obviously watched Black Adam, which we discussed on the stream earlier. I haven't really been watching a lot besides like a couple of horror movies, really.
Yeah.
But what have you got coming up in the next couple of weeks?
Obviously, the main one. Ryan brought it up before. Black Panther obviously is coming out, so we're both going to be watching that. And there was also a Netflix series, that I want to jump on. It's called The Bastard Son and the Devil Himself. It's got
I've seen a trailer for that.
Yeah, it's like witchcrafty sort of one, and it's got one of my favorite characters from DC, which is another thing that I'm going to be watching soon next week, or this week actually, from DC Titans. One of the guys from that is the main in this. So yeah, I'm interested to watch that series, and obviously Black Panther. I mean, we've spoke about this before in our past streams, that I think this is going to be the one that really brings all the Marvel fans back together and go, yes, they knocked it out of the park. No wokeness, no cringy humor, trying to be funny and trying to appeal to this demographic or like this group of people. I think it's just going to really be serious, heartwarming, emotional, full of action, still fun, but like not so cringy and dumb sort of fun,
Right. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I'm looking forward to I'll answer this question in a second by Ryan.
No dramas.
Yeah, I think I agree with you, Jamie. I think with Black Panther, it's like the trailer alone doesn't look as if it's trying to follow on from like 10 other Marvel movies they've done in the last year. Right. It looks direct sequel to that first kind of movie or the events of Endgame kind of thing. Obviously, everyone's intrigued. Okay, well, how they're going to honor Chadwick Boseman in this movie?
Yeah.
Then how are they going to make Shuri as the Black Panther or whatever name they want to give her now, if they change it? Yeah, it's definitely going to be like a big emotional movie with maybe some light-hearted jokes, certain moments maybe. But yeah, I'm intrigued to see Black Panther. I think opening weekend, Ryan was saying, I think it's going to take a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. Definitely a lot more than fucking 30 million that Thor pulled in. Like,
Right.
I expected that to be way bigger. Like, I really,
Right.
really did. Coming off Ragnarok, I thought, oh, this is going to make so much money. And 30 mil, it sucked.
Right.
It was my most anticipated movie for the year. That was the one thing that I was like, oh, I can't wait for this. And it freaking sucked. So, and I know there was a lot of other fans like me that felt the same way. And then, as we've spoke about before, like including the series into that bunch of crap, you know, like I really think that this Black Panther movie is going to tie everyone in and be like, yes, we're back on track. This is good. And then obviously, and before that, we've got the fun and the silly side of things with the Guardians there in the holiday special. But then obviously coming into next year, we've got the Ant-Man and the Wasp, the Quantumanium. So, yeah, I think we might be getting on track now. We might be, you know, seeing some good movies come out.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
not that the multiverse wasn't good, but yeah.
No, I agree. Yeah, I definitely think it's going to take more than 4 to start with. Like, for example, like we all know that Black Panther, the first movie, did massive strides for like black representation, for example. And it clearly goes to show in the box office numbers that movie made a killing. So straight away, you know, for the black representation, for example, they're going to be straight out to see this movie and be like, okay, well, how is it going to represent us for a sequel? You know, is it going to be as good? Is it going to be better? Is it going to be a joke of a movie? Like what they're going to do, you know? So you got that audience, and then you've got, you know, superhero geeks, you got nerds, you got people in general, you know? So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised 175 mil, Ryan said. Wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. We will have to see, Jace. I'm happy to hold you to that because, that's a big jump from 30.
Yeah.
Fucking massive jump from 30. Ocean says, I didn't really like Love and Thunder, but I'd revisit it just for Christian Bale's character. What part of his character? Like we saw like the tiniest little bit, you know, like I feel he was the strongest part of that movie and they underused him. Is that the word I'm looking for there? Didn't use him enough in that movie. Like, it was just weak. Even like we didn't see him kill anyone or anything. It was his shadow monsters that was sort of doing all that. There was nothing. Even when we saw him kill the gods, like it was on like a teleprompter thing, you know, like Thor was like watching it from like the news, you know what I mean? Like we didn't even literally see him kill a god. It was like, oh god, this is just so disappointing in every single aspect. I really hated it.
So I think this is where Thor was like a big wasted opportunity. So like Ocean Review says right here, like Christian Bale, for example, again, a big actor, is pulled in impressive numbers and box office and critical acclaim with like the Dark Knight trilogy. Still revered as like, well, my personal favorite superhero movies of all time. Not like that for a lot of people. So they bring his character in. Gore, as you said, definitely way underutilized, but definitely the only good thing about that movie. And then they kill him off in that movie instead of signing him to like a multi-contract kind of thing, you know, like they kill him off. And I'm like, well, why? You know,
wasted.
Right.
And I just feel like that whole movie was like that. It was a waste. It was literally to introduce Love, you know, who is obviously going to be in future MCU stuff. Introduce that little girl, that little character. That's literally all I got from that whole movie. Because it's like they kill off Jane, but then they're like, oh, but she might live in this like after whatever they called that place, Valhalla, was it?
So technically she's not dead.
Not dead. So it's like, what the fuck? You wasted my time just like you did with She-Hulk. Like, again, it's just killing me. It's really killing me to watch it at the moment. But I really think, back to the topic at hand, that the Black Panther will bring people like me back and be like, oh my gosh, they've still got it. You know, they can make good movies. It doesn't have to be this cringy wokeness. I don't even know if that's the right word I'm using, but, you know, like try and appeal to every sort of demographic of people. You don't have to do that in order for a movie to be good. You don't have to be funny in every line in order for a movie to be good. And I feel like Black Panther is going to have that really strong plot and really strong cast to do that.
Right. Well, funny thing you say that. Like 2 movies straight away that, as you mentioned about appealing to people, these 2 movies didn't appeal to the mass audience, and look how well those 2 movies did. You know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree.
Oh, anyway, that's what I'm looking forward to. The Black Panther mostly, and as I said, I'll watch that other series. And I think that's about it to tie us over to the next fortnight.
Yeah, well, I'm sure in the meantime there'll be some movie announcements somewhere we can talk about, or another Mario trailer or something.
Probably. I'm super pumped. If I'm being honest with you, like, yes, I'm excited for Black Panther, obviously, but I'm really pumped for this Christmas special. I love Guardians. I think we've said at the beginning of this stream here, and you said that, you know, because when I first heard about it, I was like, Christmas special. It's just gonna be fun. It's gonna be silly and a little bit of a throwaway, kind of like the Groot series, you know, like no one really liked it because it was just like, well, did we need this? No. Did we want it? No. But I'm sitting here going, that was cute. It looked good. I think I'm going to say the same thing for the holiday special. Yeah. And as you said, it's going to tie into Guardians 3. You know, it's not going to be this throwaway thing that I thought it was going to be. And when I watched the trailer, same thing. I was like, they're actually addressing like Gamora being gone and, you know, Peter having these feelings. So it's a little bit more serious than this joke that I thought it was going to be.
Right. Yeah. And I think at the start of this series, and I might be wrong, but I wouldn't be surprised if they start the series off where Thor and Love and Thunder left. You know, when they could just go flying off in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, right.
Assuming that's where it's going to like lead into. And then I've heard this is going to link directly into the 3rd movie. Hey,
nice.
Hey, man. Hope you're having a good jump or whatever you're doing there, dude.
Nice, Justin.
So I've heard this Christmas special is linking into the 3rd movie. So I'm expecting like a post-credit scene of like Adam Warlock popping in at some point.
Yeah, cool. I'm just glad that we're getting it because, I'm never going to say no to a Marvel Christmas movie. Bring it on, DC. If you want to take that challenge on as well, go for it. I'm down. Christmas movies I'm all into. But that's probably the next thing coming up that I'm looking forward to.
Cool. Yeah, should be good. I'm sure we'll have some news to talk about in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's wrap this up. Let's get Justin off the toilet. All right. So thank you for jumping on the channel, and thank you for everybody in the comments and everybody watching and the people watching after the fact. Please leave a comment as well because I do read that stuff, and obviously that can contribute to our next fortnight stream. Like we can bring up the what people thought and stuff like that. So thanks for jumping on, Mike.
Welcome, Jimmy. Yeah, thanks for having me, and thanks to everyone who's watching.
All right, no worries. Take care, guys. Bye.